You don't need me to tell you that so much of business learning happens in real life, right? Not in a classroom, not getting an MBA, not reading books or watching YouTube, right? But is there a way to accelerate the learning without having to make every single one of those mistakes and losing thousands and thousands of dollars? Is there? Obviously, one of the great ways to learn is to learn from people before you, people who have done it, people who have had the experience, who made the mistakes, and you can learn from them, right? Like having mentors and learning from experts who have done it previously. And I absolutely love that. Like I'm a massive learner. I always have coaches, always in masterminds, always learning from people who have done it previously. But there's something else that is not spoken about that can help you accelerate your learning. And honestly, I love it because you can learn crazy amounts from it, crazy amounts. You could do it basically anywhere. It's free and it lasts forever. It's pretty cool and pretty powerful. And most people don't talk about it. Honestly, it's something that I do with my clients in basically every single session. And eventually they get into the habits, they just do it by themselves. So I'm excited to teach it to you here. And that is making life principles in 3 steps. Okay. So every single time you are finished a task successfully, once you're done, whether you made mistakes in it, whether you didn't, whether it's a launch, like a big project, like something that was like a book launch and maybe took 12, 18 months to actually do, or it's a small task, like simply recording a whole bunch of YouTubes to put out on YouTube. It depends, whatever that task is, you are going to create a life principle. Okay. So never think of your task as done until you create this life principle. And it just takes 3 simple steps. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a moment to identify what specifically helped you be successful in this task. Pinpoint the exact thing, the exact strategy that helped you do it. Sometimes it's like people will consider this the tip or a hack, or it was like this specific thing, right? So like, don't just say planning. You'll want to say like what part of the planning helped you most, right? So maybe you like just finished batching like 3 weeks worth of emails that you sent out to your email newsletter. Okay. And the exact thing that helped you before you got into like the exact thing that helped you write these 21 emails, because you send out an email every single day, was having all your ideas already in a dump place. So that way, when you came to writing it, you didn't actually have to think of all the ideas and then actually write it. Okay. So your strategy here, the thing that you are pinpointing exactly, is the fact that you had all the ideas. Okay. Not the fact that you were prepared, the fact that you had all the ideas. Do you see the difference? Like you're getting super specific. So step 1 is you identify the specific thing that has helped you. Step 2, you're going to give that specific thing a name. Doesn't make a difference what the name is, as long as you know what that name is, because when we label things, it makes it easier for our brain to understand it and organize it, and then eventually use it later. So let's say in this case that I said of batching the emails and having all the ideas, let's say I am giving that strategy an idea dump, using an idea dump. So my strategy, the thing that helped me, was using an idea dump. Okay. That was number 2. Simple. Just give it a name. Number 3, now you're going to write a life principle. You are going to take this strategy. You are going to explain when and why you can use it. But here's the important part. You are not going to get specific, like use it when you are doing email batching, or even like when you are doing content creation. You are going to make it as generalized as possible so you can use it in as many areas of your life as possible. Let me give you an example so you can understand this better. Okay. So when I create an idea dump, then I have a much easier time doing the hard work. Okay. So a simple like template that you could use is when I then I, okay? So here it was like, when I create an idea dump, then I have a much easier time doing the work. Now, notice I didn't say anything having to do with writing, content creation, work, even like literally nothing. I just said that when I have an idea dump, then I have an easier time doing the work at hand, okay? Now, this way, you can now use an idea dump whenever. You can use this idea dump when you are planning a trip. Create an idea dump for planning your trip. You can use the idea dump when you are deciding what your new product line is going to be. You are using your idea dump. You can use an idea dump even when you are deciding what is going in your course. This way, it is so general, you can use an idea whenever. I know it's almost like hard for our brain to comprehend to go so general because we're so used to like being specific. But here, you are now creating a sentence in your brain, a life principle in your brain that your brain can use in any situation that it makes sense in, okay? So I'm going to repeat the framework. When I, then I. Simple, just like that. If you want a pro one, sometimes I like that a little more, so that I can. And I just give like, I just so that, right? When I use an idea dump, then I have a much easier time doing the work at hand. And then I just write so that, and I give a reason. So let's say, so that way I don't get caught up in what ideas I need to do, because it gives your brain the motivation. So if there's, let's say, a life principle that you want to like get more motivated on, you're like, hey, it helped me here, but like, I don't know if it'll help me in other places. You do that so that, and it gives your brain the motivational part of it. And it's easier for you to actually do it, but don't get caught up in that if that's overwhelming. It's just when I, then I. And then you're going to keep a notes up on your phone of all your life principles, and you can use them any single time you get stuck or stressed or you're like not sure what to do. Honestly, I like to read them on an ongoing basis. So just like going through them to like remind yourself. And that way, like even before you get stuck, your brain knows already what is happening. So quick recap. Okay, you're going to take a moment to identify the specific thing that helped you get a task done. You're going to give it a name because your brain needs to organize it and understand it. And then number 3, you're going to create the life principle. When I, then I. Now, honestly, you don't have to use that framework. That is just a framework that some people like to use, but some sort of sentence that explains how, when you use it, then what it does for you. Okay. Now, by doing this, you are going to accelerate your learning because you do not have to make the same mistakes over and over and over again in different areas of your life. And you are simply taking what you've learned from one area of your life, even if it's something as crazy as planning a trip, into email content creation, which like has almost nothing to do with each other, but the life principle does. Okay. So keep a running list of these and you'll see how much faster your business learning and really life learning goes. If you want to improve your cognitive functions and make these life principles together and be like powered up with these strategies where your brain actually does them automatically and you don't actually have to think about them anymore, you will want to check out Your Entrepreneur's Brain Rewired. That's lifepicksuniversity.com/YEBR. The links will be in the show notes. Have an awesome rest of your day and cheers to peak brain performance while you create life principles.